let's finish on a glorious high note.
Let's do so, my friend. I've been waiting to talk about this for we have, I think, for ever since it premiered. This is the Better Call Saul finale, which aired last Monday and almost a week ago, and it's been such a painful week to have to like not talk about. But at the same time, we're sorry if this does not appeal to you because like basically no one still has watched Better Call Saul. Right? I don't know almost know anyone else who watches Better Call Saul.
Our peers, no, but I do think it's an insanely popular show. So,
oh yeah, I think maybe. I mean, obviously it is, but it's not. I mean, do you see? Here's what I'll say. Do you see it being nominated for Emmys like these other goddamn shows being nominated? No.
No.
Well, how many? Well, has it?
Yeah, of course.
How many Emmys? How many nominations I got? I haven't seen shit. I haven't seen a single goddamn billboard for your FYC campaigns on all over LA.
Emmy Awards, Outstanding Drama Series, Best Supporting Actress Drama Series, Lead Actor Drama Series, Supporting Drama Series, Lead Actor Drama Series.
5.
It's won and been nominated for many. It just doesn't brag about it.
I like to, but you know, again, if you see these other shows like Succession, Severance, 28 nominations,
they brag
14 nominations.
Yeah, because it's on a streaming service. This is just pure cable.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like painfully underrated. Anyways, sorry if you don't watch the show. Obviously, highly recommend it. Probably the best show, maybe of all time, easily in the top 3. I don't know. We'll see. In most places, but Better Call Saul. We're gonna talk about the finale. I went first on the last one, so I'm going to have you do your thoughts first, Alex. But before that, so if you don't know, it is the final episode of the 6-season run, Better Call Saul, which was the spinoff of that was arguably one of the greatest shows ever, Breaking Bad, if not the best show ever made to some people, which follows the lawyer Saul Goodman and his life as a prequel. But we also actually got to see that this actually becomes a sequel to Breaking Bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
one of the many great filmmaking choices for the show, and so it follows him and his life as he gets to there, and then afterwards. And so the finale, much like the rest of the show, was just, in my opinion, amazing. And I'm going to get into a lot of that stuff. But first, let's get your thoughts on the finale, Alex, of Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul finale was the cherry on the top of a beautifully tragic story.
Yeah.
It was spectacular and just full and wrought with emotion for every reason. You got to see Jimmy McGill be Saul, work his magic one last time, and you thought, yeah, he's gonna get away with it. He really did it. He did it. And just kind of own the room and command the room, and and then he does the right thing for the first time in a really, really long time.
Yeah.
He decides to take the fall to make sure the person he loves and cares about the most. What's her name? Kim
Wexler.
Kim. Yeah, Kim. I was like, it's not. I was about to say what. It wasn't the last name I was thinking. It's Kim. You see, takes the fall to make sure Kim Wexler gets off, and you don't expect him to do it, but when he's up on the stand and he's just giving his address, the best moment of the episode to me was when he went and he said, "At first, I did it because I had to, and I was scared." And then I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, he turned the tables again. And
the delivery was great.
For so long in his life, everything was not his call. And he was stuck being just like the punching bag and the joke and the stepping stool for so many people and so many things. And you see this show, he becomes this larger than life personality. And in that moment, you kind of see it all come full circle. And he takes full blame for what he did, and he also retires Saul. He says, "My name's Jimmy McGill."
Right.
Yeah, at the very end of it. And I thought it was just really fantastic writing. Not a lot writing we don't see anymore.
No.
You want to talk about fleshed out characters. This guy's the show can be like boiled down to just relationships and how they can ruin you or help you or build you and
Yeah.
determine who you are. And yeah, they did some pretty terrible stuff, and they did some pretty cool stuff. And it was a crazy fun ride to watch them do it. Just this character, Bob Odenkirk, deserves an Emmy as an outstanding actor
Oh
at the
yeah.
very least. Um, and yeah, it was fantastic. It was fantastically tragic in the best way possible. The end scene is just such a bummer, but like he's the only one that lived, really. I mean, Jesse, I guess, is
That's
still
so true.
right, but
Yeah.
Jesse's fucking he's out. He's
Yeah, he's out though.
he's in
Yeah.
Alaska, just pieced out.
Right.
And I
Right.
do think that, and I say this knowing the weight it holds. This is at the moment the greatest cinematic universe ever built. I'm saying it. Over the three movies, or sorry, three shows and a movie, you have created characters that, like, even fucking Huel, a joke character from Breaking Bad, gets his time to shine in this. Mike Ehrentrout gets his time to shine. I want a Mike prequel series to see where going for
Oh,
Mike. But I know Vince Gillian's taking his time off from
it's over.
Breaking Bad universe right now. And that was another heartbreaking thing. This was probably the last time we see Walter White,
It might just be
which is such a bummer because he's just so good. But yeah, I
a lot
think,
of these characters.
yeah, it was fantastic, man, and it was true filmmaking and script writing at its finest. That's as good as I can, like, as best as I can say. Like, it doesn't get better than this.
I would 100% agree with everything you said.
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker. We always disagree. No, man. Like, I think I mean, just to speak of the show in general first, it's like the magic of the show is really comes down to Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, who are the primary writers of the show and the showrunner, and it's incredible. They're I have hard times putting it to words sometimes, but it's just like their style of filmmaking is both so, like, they just don't conform to any other style of filmmaking I've ever seen. It's so distinct, the way that they write and the way that they choose to film both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Like, it's just like, I don't even think it's going to be mimicable. It's like fucking Sting in The Police. Like, I don't think there's anyone. It's so unique and it's so tuned in. They have the style and just along with the filmmaking prowess to just like give us this just insane universe of wonderful characters who are all fleshed out, and it's just like, I don't know if it's ever going to be replicated. Not that I want it to be, it's just what they've achieved here is really something incredible that it's sad that, this show didn't get sort of the widespread recognition that like Breaking Bad did, because maybe it doesn't have as much of those iconic moments or like their Walter White, but at the same time, it's given us more than that, much more. If people just watch this show, it's like, it's so incredibly, there's something just so raw and real about it more than any other show. When you think about the characters and what they go through and just the style of, like, there's no the typical tropes you get in shows where, like, oh, the final episode has to be this, it has to be this big moment, right? Or the middle of the show has to feel like this, or this next episode has to be in like this. Every week is like, you don't know what you're going to get, because the showrunners know exactly where they're going and they're servicing the story 120% each time. They're like, where does the story need to go? And let's make that next episode be in service to that, instead of like what the audience expects for a finale or for a mid-season or a show in between. It's just the whole entire series is based on that. And it's just insane.
Yeah.
Like, any filmmaker, I know cinephiles love this show, but it's one of those shows where it's like, if people just took the time to sort of like give it its due, you can see sort of like the power of filmmaking and sort of having a voice for yourself, and that you can do that. You don't have to do the same things that everyone does to make something incredible like this. Anyways,
you don't have to make a superhero movie.
No, exactly. And this is not that at all. This is almost like the purest form of just human of just humans being humans, right? Put into certain situations and making decisions and facing the consequences of those decisions, right? That's all. Essentially, it's all about. And the show just stuck to that all to the very end, and it's incredible to see what you can accomplish with that sort of thing. Anyways, so the finale in itself, yeah, I loved it. It's great.
Right.
It's the point of ending. It's Saul breaking good, or Gene or Jimmy. You know, it's
you want.
And we talked about this before. We asked each other, like, what would you want to happen, or what do you think will happen to Jimmy, and what would you want to happen to Jimmy? I think you said that you think that he will get away with it.
I did. I thought he would with it. I was like,
and I said, I don't think so. I was like, I think he needs to go to jail. Like, I think that's what would make sense for his, or at least it would be, because that is expected, right? I think, again, it would be sort of like the Breaking Bad route to have him like actually get away with it. But it just didn't seem natural, like, for him to like actually get away with this, just considering what he's gone through. I mean, technically, all the black and white scenes, which are basically what's happening now, like, show him like he's getting away with it in this moment, and yet he's fucking miserable. Like, his life sucks ass, and yet he still would want to do it. But it just so him getting away just doesn't seem like it would be satisfying, right? So I think the ending here that they came up with is so much better than that, immensely. And I'm seeing the scene where they're talking through his sentencing.
Yes.
And Marie Schrader comes in. I love that cameo. Oh, who thought it would be Betsy Brandt? Like, what a great cameo show up for her. But that whole scene was amazing. I love that scene where he just basically, like, he thinks he has it in the bag. And then he hears that Kim turned herself in.
He did have it in the bag.
He did have it in the bag. He did.
It was his. He did. And
he had sort of both ways there, right? Like, he was caught. He was caught, so he had that. What could he do? But try to minimize his sentence to a measly like 7 years, and he had it. And but yeah, when he found out that Kim, inevitably did the right thing, he ended up doing the same, and he's just like, fuck it.
Show. I think we got to do like a whole, recap
of the whole thing. Yeah.
Eventually, the whole thing. Just talk about it a little bit more and say it was we'll have to decide which was a better show, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul.
You can't make that call right now. I know my call right now, but I won't say it unless you know. I know.
I think Better Call Saul is a better show.
I agree too. I think Better Call Saul is a better show than Breaking Bad, and that's not a bad thing to say, right?
No.
Like, why would I think people get offended by that a little bit? Like, well, how could Breaking Bad? It's like it's the OG. I'm like, but for any sequel or three or whatever, they don't. Even though the track record is bad, that most sequels are not good. People don't go into them wanting them to be worse. They want them to be better, obviously. So it only makes sense to me when things actually work out to say, like, what it's actually better, that you should say it and you should praise it. It doesn't negate what happened to the first one, right? Like, Breaking Bad is a fucking amazing show. It's iconic.
So I'm interested to find out our reasoning for why we think Better Call Saul is the better show. Breaking Bad is a fantastic show, but it's the intro to this universe, and it's predominantly Walter White's story. It is predominantly his story. I mean, sure, Jesse gets a good chunk of screen time, but it's about Walter White. It's about watching this seemingly good man turn to this absolutely awful human being in a span that most people don't think is possible, and the worst in humans coming out. The reason why Better Call Saul to me is a better show is that it's so much more than that. It's about relationships. It's about so many different characters. It's about failure. It's about success. It's about just everything. It's the universe in now is fully developed because of what Breaking Bad did. It's fully developed. It's so rich and wrought with life that it just makes it a amazing show. There's anywhere you look, you could say, oh, sure, it's Better Call Saul, but you know what, this episode's going to be about Gus Fring, or
Right.
you know what, this episode's going to be about Mike Ehrentrout, or this episode's going to be about Huel or Howard Hamlin or Kim Wexler, and you're on board for all of it because it's all well done. Better Call Saul's just the name of the show. It's not really about Saul all that much in some moments, and that's what makes it that good of a show, because everything matters and everything's just so rich. That's why, to me.
Preach, baby. Preach. You couldn't have said it better. I agree with you. It is. You're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what? That makes that again, it makes sense, and that's okay. It's okay that Breaking Bad focused mostly on Walt, because that's what you wanted to see, and that's essentially what is the power of that show. Like the fact that they stuck to that, the fact like the whole point was to see what would happen if one person was basically a loser and didn't do anything with his life, become someone so insanely powerful, and yet had to have a turn to make that happen. Like that, you sticking on that line is exactly why you watch that show, and it's a strength of it.
Right.
Why that show is great in and of itself, right? But Better Call Saul, yeah, you're right. The fact that it trusted people to, yeah, sure, Saul's name is on the front, but the fact that they delved into all these other characters and trusted that people would understand and latch on to them for their own reasons, is an insane strength of not only this show against Breaking Bad, but this show against any other show in the existence of life.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like other great shows have done this. Like an example is like Lost. Lost famously did this more than any other show. Yeah, I mean, when you have a cast of like 20,000 people, you gotta have every other episode like kind of like stick to one person. That being said, even then, Better Call Saul found a way to do that, but weave it all together so tightly together. Yeah. Where you don't even like, because in Lost, even you go like, oh yeah, we got to have an episode about Jack. We got to have the episode about Hurley, and we kind of start to expect that every season. Yeah. But even here, it doesn't even. It takes that a step further, where like you don't know what the next episode is going to be about. The writers are so much in control in this show for you. Like you're just sitting back and just basically in neutral, just wanting to take it in. You don't even have to do any work with the show. Right. You just have to sit and watch. And every week it's like something new. It's like opening a new present on the same Christmas every single time. And it's that magic is what the big strength of the show is. And it's exactly because of that, because they're just, look, who cares if it's Saul versus I was going to say Taco, Nacho this week. Nacho, because this week we're going to show you why they're all kind of just the same people, but in their own contextual way, because they're just humans, and we're going to show you why that they matter, because they're going to like show they're just going to be people like they are, and it's such a crazy strength of the show. Go ahead. You're going to say something. Go ahead.
On our point about flawed characters in Marvel and how they're struggling with that right now. Every single person, even Gus Fring, they're all insanely flawed. Even Lalo. There is
understatement.
There is no perfect person, because again, like we said a couple minutes ago, perfect people don't exist.
No.
And that's what makes this show so powerful. Everybody is flawed. Everybody has and makes mistakes.
Right.
And you struggle through it with them. You get to go on the ride with them, which is
and their motivations are clear.
Yeah.
As to why they do why they do it. It's so immensely clear why they do things. That's one of the biggest problems with writing in general and all these other shows that have to sort of like fast track themselves through it, is that they kind of step over like the real reason why they're doing it, and they just make it's just a plot thing. They just need to make it happen.
Right.
Here, it's always clear. It's always clear why someone's doing something, and it's got complete motivation for everything they do. Kim Wexler is a great example of that. Probably one of the best written characters ever, and not to mention just women characters, but just great character. Like you see her struggle so hard throughout all the seasons. She's the heart of the show. Like she has I mean, besides like some of the things that she ends up doing with Jimmy near the end of the show, like she is just trying to do the right thing every time. And yet every season, you see her kind of falling into to the side of like the dark, and like not always trusting her own instincts, right? Even though they're good. Like just the fact that she doesn't always trust herself is a great vulnerable character flaw to really delve into, even though this character is good and she remains fairly good throughout the even at the end. She is the heart of the show, and she is a good person at the end of it all. She made mistakes, but she's still ultimately a good person. It's why Jimmy turns at the end, right? It's because of her. And see, that's just a great written character. Anyways, besides that, how did you what did you think about the callbacks, the cameos to like Walter in this episode? Those scenes where there's a great thematic device here about the time machine. We open up the episode with Mike and them in a previous scene. Or in previous episode, I forget which one exactly, but it's when like Mike saves him from the
he crashes with Lalo's money. He has to go.
There you go, the 7 million
jail, and he crashes with Lalo's money.
Right.
He gets attacked, and Mike ends up saving him, but they have a flat, so they have to walk in the desert for 3 days or something,
carrying the money.
Yeah.
But we have that moment. We have a future scene with Walt, and then it's all about this question that he has about the time machine. Like, would you go back? And then Walt perfectly puts busts through that whole bullshit later about like, you're just asking about regret, buddy. Like, say what you need to say.
Me about regret.
Yeah. What did you think about those scenes and seeing those like Mike for the last time and Walt being potentially for the last time?
We can go back to the Jesse scene when we see them in the episode titled Breaking Bad, when we see I guess that's our first intro in Breaking Bad to Saul Goodman, and that's Saul's first intro to Jesse and Walt in this series. They were all wonderful. They were all great. I think like you kind of mentioned, Gillian and Peter Gold, they're just amazing at symbolism and writing and all that. And titling the episode Breaking Bad obviously has more than one meaning. That's obviously. As he said, as he pays off a couple episodes later when he's saying, turns out I liked it. That's why I did it. Because he did. He also broke bad. And it all kind of tied together amazingly. And hearing Jesse say, just drive, yo. Or fucking hearing Walt saying, that's a ridiculous question. And like him being his typical analytical self, has no imagination, just super scientific, was great. I loved seeing all those characters one last time. It was the perfect way to kind of button end all of it. That's how you do a cameo.
Exactly. Right. A lot of these cameos come in. These cameos come in a lot of, obviously, there's like superhero films, and they're just there mostly for the applause when they enter screen, and it kind of ends there for the most part, right?
Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness. This is
how you do
a cameo and make it matter. This is how you do it. Give
right. Good Lord.
God.
I know. Yeah, this is exactly how you do it. Like, it felt so appropriate, right?
Right.
It felt so. Even the Marie like cameo.
Yes.
Like it's almost offensive to call them cameos at this point, right? Because it's like that's not why they found a perfect reason to have you see these characters again. It's not because partly of it is because of course I'd love to see them again, but it's also because here's a moment why their character with Saul makes a lot of sense with what we're trying to say.
Yes.
They wrote it beautifully. Even again, who thought they'd want to see Marie Schrader? Like everyone loves Betsy Brand, but like that's not the character you expect to want to see
in the show. You hated her.
You didn't really care to see her, and yet here it makes perfect sense why she would be in that situation and be in that room with him. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is incredible. And I wanted to bring up, and I brought this back to you already, my favorite personal scene of the entire episode, which was the cameo, again, not the cameo, the reappearance by Chuck McGill, played by Michael McKean, who was always like a really, strong character, and also just what a great performance. Some of the best scenes come from this guy in Better Call Saul across until he dies, of course, in season 3. But that scene to me was probably one of the best scenes of Better Call Saul. Not just because of the scene itself, but just like its placement, right?
Yeah.
So before Jimmy starts his whole fall, basically, in the courtroom, we go back one last time to the day. This is the poetry of fucking of Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould.
Yep.
This scene takes place the day before the first episode of Better Call Saul. It's just incredible because he talks about a line about like, oh, the New York, no, the something Times, and that's exactly what opens up the first episode, is like him bringing him the Times. But this takes place at Chuck's house, and he's bringing him the food that Chuck needs because Chuck, I forget exactly why he can't go to grocery stores because of his mental illness. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Like he can't get his own food.
Electromagnetic fields.
Right. So Jimmy takes it upon himself to like get his food because he has no fridge because there's electricity. So he has to put it.
Or anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And god damn it, man, this scene it broke me completely because one, again, the whole reason the show even exists, or the whole reason Jimmy is even Jimmy, is because of Chuck, right? Essentially, the whole show begins because of their whole just this degrading relationship that they have, that they love each other. Yeah. It's oh my god, the relationships can be described so many ways.
Yeah,
it's so insanely dysfunctional and poisonous. And but this scene just shows like, wow, even during those times, even when two brothers like just don't get along, there's such subtext that as humans we just don't read into, and we can't always say what we want to say. And if we just didn't divulge into our own ego for just 1 second and maybe accept some of like the love that somebody wants to give you, it could really literally make the difference between your entire life falling apart and it going a completely different direction. This is what was great about this scene, is that it brought us back to like this moment where none of this probably could have happened.
Right.
If maybe in this moment where basically what happens in the scene is that like, Chuck is trying to extend a hand out and be like, I want to be a brother in the scene to you. I know I'm not always great. We don't have great talks, but I want to ask you how you're doing, essentially. And Jimmy almost is like taken aback by it because he's like, this is not you. And yet you can see that Chuck is trying to be genuine as shit. And if Jimmy just maybe took that advancement in that moment, none of this would have happened. Is like so heartbreaking. It's just so painful to watch, and yet it's immensely poetic.
Right.
I
mean, small decisions create your life.
Yeah. And that's what the show, it just reminds you what the show is about.
Yeah.
Essentially all Jimmy wanted this entire time is love.
Yeah.
Because he has no one.
Right.
He literally has Chuck and then Kim eventually. But then once Chuck died, like Jimmy has literally no one. No one likes him. He's obnoxious. It's partly his own fault. But essentially he just wants to be loved.
Right.
And essentially Jimmy at the end of the show chooses that. Sadly, it's because he has to spend the rest of his life in jail. But he ends up choosing that in favor of like a sorrowful existence where he just becomes no one. It's so insanely good, dude.
The whole show is just insanely ironic and poetic and just right. Just the right amount of just good decisions made in the writing room that really make you think and really make you go, wow, as an audience. And I think that's just the best way to put the show in like a microcosm, if you could, man. There's just so many moment after moment that you want to dive into and talk about because it's just so good. There's like so many great, the best episode this season. Don't get me wrong, as much as I loved the finale, the best episode this season was the mid-season premiere when Lalo has a gun to basically Jimmy's head. And he's just trying to get to Salamanca. Oh, sorry, he's Salamanca. He's trying to get to Gus.
Yeah.
That whole scene is just built, just wrought with tension. There's
it's awesome.
You just don't know what's going to happen. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's just.
I agree with you.
What a wonderful, wonderful, masterfully created show and universe they've executed and made here. And it's just, I mean, Vince Gilligan has said he's putting it away for a while. He has said that he wants to write a good guy. He wants to give that a shot. which he hasn't done yet. There's not many good people he's written
That's
about.
exciting. It's
Yeah, so
exciting.
it could be really cool. But yeah, I
I
think
agree.
this
Can't wait to see that.
show was amazing, man. I just like
I
you told me to watch the show, and because of the pandemic, we did, and I just
Yeah.
oof,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Do you think if we just even tried to push people to watch the show that it would actually pay off, or is this the kind of show that really is maybe just for, like, again, people like us, like the filmmaker types, like the people who
I
like will
feel like
really delve into it, or can regular people, like
can people come
regular
around on it?
watchers, if they just gave it a shot, do you think they would actually get something out of
I
it?
think they could because Olivia's not a filmmaker. She loved it.
Yeah, she
You
did.
know, yeah, she thinks it's better than Breaking Bad. She
Oh
loved
wow.
Breaking Bad.
Tasha fell off on it a little bit. She stopped caring about the show, but
I got her to I
that's
got
good
Olivia
to
to
know.
watch Breaking Bad because I told her you got to watch this show. It's one of the best series ever made, and she loved it. And then we started Better Call Saul, and it's been yeah, she loved it. So I think more and more people can come around on it. I will say this though, man, this show is a dying breed, man. This
Oh, yeah.
might be one of the last cable shows like this. Because look, Netflix ain't in the business of doing 6 seasons of a show.
No.
I mean, unless it's a reality show. Apple TV, all they do predominantly is miniseries. They're not really
Right.
interested in doing more than one or two seasons.
Right.
I mean,
But
HBO,
that makes sense though, because they're new on the block, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, but it makes sense for like maybe an HBO Max to take on a show like this,
Right.
obviously.
But hey, HBO Max turned down Breaking Bad.
They did.
Or not HBO Max, HBO turned down.
They better not turn Vince Gilligan down for anything else they might want to come to do.
No,
though.
Vince Gilligan's got a do whatever the fuck you want card at AMC.
Oh yeah, and
of course he'll never go anywhere else.
I agree.
But yeah, I think that this show is what's a good way to put it? It's a dinosaur. It's a breed that's going extinct.
Yeah, I agree. So, I don't know if we ever will. Again, like I told you, again, unless Vince does something completely different.
Yeah. Like we may have 1-season shows that are very, very, very good, but like this 6 seasons where every character gets a backstory, every character gets emotional depth that you've like never seen. I can't imagine we get that anymore.
No, I don't think so. That's why like I've been just completely depressed about this, knowing that this was it. Like this may just be the last time we get. I'll rewatch the show probably, but like just something new again from this in this way. Yeah, it's probably that's it. That's pretty much gone. Maybe we'll see. Who knows? Vince is only like, how old is Vince?
Well, I mean,
you never know. He maybe come back around. I don't think it's like the last time we'll be in the Breaking Bad universe. I think he'll just take a break, and then once down the line, we'll see another one. I think it'll probably by then everyone will be too old. So it'll probably be a new side of that universe, but who knows? But yeah, it really just sucks to. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just one of the greatest things.
Yeah,
and it's
one of the best series ever made.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope whatever.
Go ahead.
I was just say whatever Vince does next, I'm sure it'll be just as interesting and good, because he's just a master at their craft at this point. Like they just do what comes to them because it services their script and vision solely, and I don't see it being anything less. So, but man, am I sad? I'm sad that was it. That was it. Oh, I want it so bad.
Yeah, man. There you go. One of the greatest shows ever made.
Watch it if you haven't. Watch it if you haven't.
Just give it a shot.
Yeah.
You have Netflix. Just give it a shot.
Actually, I will say there are some people who did who did watch it and like did not really attach to it. They still think that Breaking Bad's better, but
interesting.
Whatever.
This is a better show. But
it's a better show.
I can see why you think Breaking Bad's not a bad choice. So
yeah,
I guess I get it. No big deal.
Yeah, no, it's still obviously a great show. Obviously, two of the greatest shows ever made. Like it's hard to pick.
So bad. Yeah,
picking diamonds is tough. What can I say?
Yeah.
Anyways, everybody, that is our show for this week, and we'll see you next time. We'll be doing a Beast review very soon because, like, Alex in particular has been just dying. It's been waiting for this one, and I've heard good things.
Me too.
so far. So
Me too.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
so down.
Same.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Later, y'all.
Bye.